This video is for the ordering numbers foldable, and it's purple. So first, just a reminder on how to order numbers in your calculator. You would go to Stat and you would hit enter, and then you're going to enter your numbers that you want in L1, so that's list 1. Then you would go back to Stat. You would enter either 2 for least to greatest, which is ascending, or you would enter 3 for greatest to least, which is descending. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit second 1 to tell the calculator to sort L1. And then you're going to go back to Stat and you're going to hit enter where it says edit, and then your numbers will be in order. So this is what the inside of that foldable looks like. So let's do the top part first, the reminders. So all percents are out of 100, and so you can make all percents a fraction. So if you've got 55%, you can put 55 over 100 and make it a fraction. And remember that your calculator will turn fractions to decimals. And so remember to do that. You would do alpha y and then press 1, and you can put your fraction in that way. And then if you want to turn it to a decimal, you would do alpha y4. All right, so negative is in front of a number, so that would be like a -2 or a -3. Subtraction is between or in the middle of two numbers, so that would be like 2 minus 3. So there's a difference between a negative sign and a subtraction sign, especially in your calculator. And then if the number changes in the calculator, write it down. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at ascending order, which again is least to greatest. So these two boxes here are ascending, which is least to greatest. So it says, write 2/10, -1/5, 220%, -200ths, and the square root of 4 in order from least to greatest. So again, you can use the stat key or you can change them to decimals. So -1/5 would be -2/10. 220% would be 2.2, and the square root of 4 would be 2. So to put these in order from least to greatest, the smallest one would be this negative number, so -1/5. Next would come 200ths. And so one way to look at this is to look at it as money. So 2/10 would be like 20 cents, and 200ths would be like 2 pennies. And so if it's negative, you want to owe as little money as possible. So I would rather owe somebody 2 cents than 20 cents. All right, next would be 0.2. And then 2, so the square root of 4 would come next. And then 220%. All right, on example 2, so we've got 3.5%, so that would be 0.035. 2 3/8 would be 2.375. The negative square root of 6 would be about -2.45, and then this is pi minus 4, so that's where that minus sign is different from that negative. So this would be -0.858. So to put these in order, the smallest one is going to be the negative square root of 6. So again, think of money. You would owe more money if you owed somebody $2.45 than if you owed somebody 85 cents. So our next number would be the pi minus 4, then the 3.5%, and then finally the 2 3/8. So examples 3 and 4 are going to be descending order. So these are going to be from greatest to least, or from highest to lowest. So it says put 0.7, 65%, 5/8, and 2/3 in order from greatest to least. So again, you can use your calculator and use your stat in your list. If you don't do All right, so 65% is 0.65. 5/8 is 0.625, and 2/3 is 0.66 repeating. All right, so greatest to least, we've got to pick the biggest one first. So let's look at this as money. So 0.7 or 70 cents would be my biggest number. My next biggest number would be 2/3 because 66 cents would be more than the others. And then 65%, and then finally 5/8. So in example 4, we're doing the same thing. We're going to write 5.78, negative 5.9, 58%, negative 23/4, and 2 pi plus 1 from highest to lowest. So again, use your calculator, use your stat key. So 58% is 0.58, negative 23/4 is negative 5.75, and 2 pi plus 1 is about 7.28. So again, we're going from highest to lowest. So my biggest number here, or my greatest amount of money, would be the $7.28. So 2 pi plus 1 would be the biggest number. Next would be the 5.78, and then the 58%. And then finally, we've got to decide between our two negatives. So I've got negative 5.9 and negative 5.75. So the lowest, you have to think of, again, money. So if you owe a lot of money, you would have less money. So I would rather owe $5.75 than I would $5.90. All right, and finally we're going to compare. So we're going to write less than, greater than, or equal to. So to compare numbers, they've got to be in the same form. So I can make these into fractions, but the problem here is if you compare fractions, they have to have the same denominator. So for me, it's always been easier to make them into decimals. So 14% is 0.14, and 1/7 is 0.142. So 1/7 is going to be greater because 0.142, if I make these have the same amount of place value, you can see here that 142 is bigger than 140. The final one says pick the largest number. So again, they need to all be in the same form. So when you're doing this, you can use your stat key, you can order them, and then pick the number that's going to be at the top of your list if you do descending order, or you can turn them all into decimals and compare them. So 55% would be 0.55, 5/9 would be 0.55 repeating, and then 14 divided by 25 is going to be 0.56. So my biggest number here is going to be the 14 over 25 because 56 cents is bigger than any of the other amounts that we have.